Hey everybody, welcome to Bestie Book Reviews. I'm here with my bestie Mandy.
And I'm here with my bestie, Jessica.
So it's time for those 1-minute book recs again. This is where we go over all the books we've read in the past week with 1-minute synopsises for each book. Before we get started with that, Mandy, any
Well,
housekeeping?
please hit that subscribe button. We are in the middle of a couple of giveaways. So we are doing the Convincing Us to Read, where you're going to convince us to read one of your favorite books or a book that you just really want us to read. All that information is down below. And this is the last week to fill that form out. And also that's part of our giveaway is a $10 Amazon gift card. We'll just do a random drawing for those of you who enter that. And then we also are doing our Road to 3K giveaway where we have the coveted cover. I need to really pay attention.
The other way, the original way.
Are you sure?
Yes. Because you've been
Okay.
doing that, and then it is always, you start that way because it's habit. And then when I go to edit, it's always right there. So unless something changed overnight, I think we're good.
Okay. So we have the coveted cover book box with Catherine Welcher's books in it that we're going to give away when we get to 3,000. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, comment, and like. Really means a lot to us. We appreciate it.
It does. It really does. Yes. Okay, let's talk about our reading weeks. How was yours?
My reading week was pretty good. I did slow down. I got seven this week.
Okay. I am, obviously you guys can still tell I'm still like sitting in the bed. I'm not allowed to like sit for long periods of time and like being in my chair. So we're still here. I have 6 to talk about. I had like 3 or 4 that I started and I plan to finish them this week. I just wasn't very motivated. I slept a lot. I'm still healing. So I got 6.
Okay. It's okay that you don't have to justify.
I know, but when I go from reading like 8 to 12, it wasn't really over 12 unless I'm camping, but it feels, I don't know, I feel like I'm being lazy and not reading, but I'm enjoying it. And I think part of that is Goodreads doesn't show you what everybody else is doing anymore. So I don't feel that competitiveness anymore.
Oh,
as much.
Well, I mean, I am competitive, but with my reading, it's just kind of my own thing that I like to do.
Yeah.
But I do miss seeing what other people, like other people's goals. So it's weird.
Yes, I do miss that.
Those anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's allowed me to relax a little bit more because I'm very competitive with myself, but I'm competitive when I see others. Like I have to be there, and I don't feel the need so much. So it means I'm kind of enjoying my reading a little bit more because I can relax about it a little bit more. So,
well, that's good that you're so competitive. You were reading for yourself.
I know I really wasn't, but I just felt like I had to read faster, but no. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's dive in.
Okay. So
you can go first.
Oh no, you go first. You read more. It is your prize for being the winner this week. See? So what is your first book? Yay!
Okay. My first book is one that you love.
Okay.
And it goes with March.
It's green. The Devil of Dublin.
Yes.
Yes.
Good
Okay,
job.
awesome.
By B.B. Easton. So this, I know we've heard about this a lot on our channel, so you'll get my brief rec here. Oh, especially if I set the timer. So we have Darby. Darby goes to Ireland with her mom to visit her grandpa. And I think if I remember correctly at the beginning of the story, Darby has not been. This is like her first time going. And she goes off exploring in the woods and having just a lot of fun based on some fun like stories her grandpa has told her. And so she's out there when she meets another little boy out there. And his name is Kellen. And Kellen has not had a great life. And he just needs a big hug and like, it's just so sad. And Darby friends him. He doesn't speak much at the time. And so, but they have fun together. And she comes back every year after this. And she's like kind of the only bright spot in his life. And then all of a sudden she doesn't come back anymore. And that kind of sets up a whole nother problem there. That was my timer. And so we I can't talk anymore. So
Okay.
then she ends up coming back several years later, but she is engaged. Dun dun dun.
It's really hard to talk about it, isn't it?
Yes. So I'll
Yeah.
kind of leave it at that. We have
Yeah.
like, the Irish mafia is involved and lots
Yeah.
of stuff.
I
And
love the Irish folklore
the
in it.
book has, let's see if I can find it, like really cool pictures in it too.
As long as you get that edition, if you get the edition with the male model on the cover, it doesn't have that in there.
Okay.
So at least if I remember right, it doesn't. It was just those ones did. So
Yes.
yeah. But what did you rate it?
Oh, that would be helpful. I rated it a
Yeah.
5. I really enjoyed
Yeah.
it.
I loved it too. Yeah. I'm anxious for you to read the second book and see what you think.
It is sitting right here. And as
Hmm.
everyone can tell, I have not gotten my shelves organized. But what you
Hmm.
can't see is that everything over here is looking a lot better.
Okay.
It's still a work in progress.
Yeah.
I
But
was
they're
hoping to get it
built.
done faster, but
Yeah. Well, they're built and they're up now, so it's all on you at this point.
well, actually that's not true because I
Oh,
was waiting the way I ordered my shelves, I measured, but the corner shelf was a little tricky because it didn't actually tell you how far down the wall it would go. It
yeah.
told you like the other dimensions. So I didn't know how close to the wall I was going to get.
Yeah.
So I ordered the shelves to work for the corner. And I kind of ended up changing my plan and I went this way. I was going to frame in my window and I decided to do this wall for phase 1 and then phase 2 will be the other wall with
Jesus.
the extensions and
Yeah.
ladder. But so I have a corner over here that has to be completed. So I had to order the corner brackets. So they just came and now I'm waiting on my non-harem to fix that. And then
Yeah.
I can really like start organizing.
You know, I'm so glad that you're doing this ahead of me because I probably won't change the shelves I have in here for quite a while. But I'm at that point in my life where my children are about to leave the nest. And the minute my son is gone, his room is a library. And I'm gonna need that all the way around.
Well, your
So
daughter has thoughts on that.
yeah, well, she also has the youngest one has thoughts on that because the middle one is about to go off to college too. So both of them should be doing their thing. And she seems to think because she's the one left behind at home that if Jeff and I travel anywhere, she should get to go. And I'm like, no. So we were looking at taking a cruise in 2027 yesterday, and she's like, I get to go on that, right? And I was like, why? Because you're home? No. These are like second honeymoons for us. I don't think so. No.
All
We
right.
might take her.
You're like massively oversharing again.
I know, I love it. It's awesome. Okay.
No, what I was talking about is your daughter made the comment that your son was never going to leave.
Oh, yeah. No, he's actually been looking at it. It's just too expensive for him to leave. But he is he's decided to go to the trade school now. So he's making some big decisions here. So
Okay.
yes. Okay.
Next, your book.
Ready. My first book was an arc that I got, and it wasn't like an arc that I got like, oh, read it ahead of time and rate and review it. It was I've been talking a lot with Celia Aaron. She had a new book come out, and she was like, oh, I'm gonna get you an arc. So this is House of Night. This is the first book. This is going to be a trilogy. Like I said, it's by Celia Aaron. This is going to be a trilogy. This is the first book. I'm not sure when the next ones come out, but this one is really good. There's a lot of intrigue in this one, not a lot of spice because it's a very slow burn. But this is about Georgia. So this is like it's paranormal, vampire, captive. Um, in this world, it's like there's been a plague, like a bubonic type plague, or like a plague, a black plague, that is wiping out humanity. Georgia is a doctor. Her sister is the president, and she is working with the government to come up with a cure. We find all this out in the very first part of the book. So when that was happening, the vampires emerged and she was working with a vampire. Well, now when the book starts out, she's like in a holding cell in like a prison because the vampires have completely taken over. Humans are just cattle. We're dying left and right. They're just sucking our blood. And she has no memory of what happened after a certain point. Like she knows who she is and she knows she was working to do this. But if she starts trying to think about what happened to bring the downfall of the humans, like her brain completely misfires. The king of the vampires is pissed off about something and he wants her memory. So he has Valen take her and to extract her memories, and things happen from there. Valen has his own ulterior motives. It's a whole thing. I gave it 5 stars. I am really into it. But Celia does this where she has, because I think she writes in big chunks. Like if it was one book, it'd be a one chonky book. So she breaks it up into 3. Um, I need more. I need the rest. I'm really, really, really intrigued. So, I mean, what's not to love? Vampires, captive, amnesia,
Oh, I love amnesia.
slow burn. I mean, it's a form of amnesia. So, okay.
All right.
So
Are you ready
it's
for my
out right
next?
now too. I forgot to say that. It's already out. The book's out now. Okay,
Oh,
what?
are
Sorry.
you ready for my next one?
I am.
Okay, my next one is an ALC, which is the advanced listener copy
Mhm.
of an audiobook. So the book itself has already been out, but the audiobook comes out on March 26th. And if you've watched our dark romance favorite triggers, you already heard me talk about this a little bit. So let's dive into this one. It is called Reckless Obsession by Deborah Garland. And it is narrated by Erin Shedlock and Stella Hunter, which they do a phenomenal job with this. So we have Jillian. Jillian is a DA, and she's trying to bring down this Irish mafia guy. And his brother comes into town and basically just obliterates her entire case. And she isn't successful. So she goes out, and the brother is the attorney for him. So she goes out drinking that night and is just kind of like upset. And she's getting a little bit tipsy when she runs into Owen, who is the attorney for his brother, and they end up going home together, and she has a wild night with him, which really kind of sets her on this adventure, some self exploration, which leads her to downloading an app to get some more hookups. But Owen has decided that that is not okay with him. He wants her for himself. No one else can have her. So he hacks into her stuff, breaks into her apartment, makes it so no one else can respond to her online dating apps, creates a profile to be somebody else, responds as this other guy, wears a mask,
He's in it.
and proceeds to stalk her
Mhm.
and pretend to be this other guy. So it is wild, but I absolutely loved his dedication to how obsessed he was with her. It was 5 stars. I loved it so
Okay.
much.
I mean,
And
he
there's
just
also like the whole element of the fact that he is heavily involved in the mafia. And so people, like, he is not safe. And like the people around him are not safe. So there's like a whole other element of him needing to make sure she is safe.
and he really goes to some extremes. Like he is dedicated.
He is very dedicated to being an
Wow.
obsessive possessive.
Some men really need to take notes. The dedication level is just not there.
Yes.
I mean, if they have to walk across the street to make it happen, they're not going to do it. So, okay,
Well,
got it.
and then he's like trying not, like, when he interacts with her, he's like almost getting jealous of how she
Himself,
feels about the other guy, which is him.
which is him. Yes. Oh my goodness, that is funny.
Is
I love
really
it when they're
good.
crazy like that. The crazy ones are
Yes.
always the best. So, this next one I'm going to talk about, unless you need to look at your notes, I think I'm just going to just stay on with you because it's the second book in the 9 Minutes trilogy. It's out of
Oh,
time, and there's really not a lot that I can say. I needed to do this as a reread. I just needed to do it as a reread, and really there really isn't a lot that you can say about it because it'll give away things. Like this is the continuation of Kit's story. This is
hmm
the aftermath of what happened at the end and slash prologue of the first story, and this is where things start to unravel. I forgot reading this how many twists and turns, and like I knew it was twisty and turny, but the level of deceit, the level, like the things that happen, just you just
yes.
forget. Like it's just so crazy. Doing this is one of them when you do the reread, you're like, oh, that makes so much more sense now.
hmm
So again, 5 stars, phenomenal. Just like Mandy likes to say, phenomenal.
Yes,
So yeah.
it was.
Yeah. Just there's certain things now that I'm paying a little bit more attention to things after reading it the first time where I'm like, oh my God. It just there was a lot of those moments of what? Yeah. So anyhow. Okay.
Well, guess what?
What?
We can stay on again.
Okay, cool.
Because my next book is The Initiation by Nikki Sloan,
Oh,
which
yes.
is our book club book. So we will be talking about this in depth on Friday, which is Friday. I wrote the date down, March 28th at 6 p.m. Pacific on our channel. So you can join us for the live, and you can always, if you can't make it, you can always come back and watch it later and add comments and interact that way as well. So I won't give anything away. I'll just do a quick little update. If you haven't seen the stuff about book club, we started a book club. During the first book club, it was suggested by you guys that we do a trope wheel. So we gathered all your trope suggestions, put it in a wheel, spun it, and Arranged Marriage came up.
Mm-hmm.
And then you guys gave us your recommendations for that trope, and we voted, and this was the book that won. And so I read it. I have not read it before. You've already read it.
I have, and I've been waiting for you to read it. I was so excited that was what was chosen because I'm like, how do I get Mandy to read this one? You like Nikki Sloan.
I do.
How do you do it? Yeah.
And speaking of Nikki Sloan, on Wednesday, we will have our interview with her out, which I'm just so excited because you guys, a couple of you had asked if we could get her on like last summer. And I thought, oh, like she's a really big author. We
Why
have
would
not
she want
met
to come
her.
talk
We
to
have no
us?
connection. Like that's going to be a tough one.
Yeah.
And then we met her in Phoenix and asked, and she's like, I'd love to. And I was like, really?
Yes. You know, I do have to say, it's getting really cute. When we first started doing author interviews and going to these events, I would ask a lot of the authors, and Mandy'd be like, oh, you gotta go ask that author if they'll be on our channel. Now, I can't even get, like, I don't even get up to the table, and Mandy is already asking them. And I'm just so proud of you. You just came out of that show. You are asking all, and then you're like, I asked her. I asked that one, and I asked that one, and I asked that one. It's so cute.
Well, I want to clarify. I ask authors, like, I don't just ask everybody I meet.
No,
I ask
no.
authors who I love their books and would love to do the interview with. And that we get feedback from you guys as well. Like, I know that you guys like Nikki Sloan because whenever I've talked about her, you guys give us feedback about that. So, yeah.
I mean, and we'll still take author suggestions. There's a few we have coming up.
The foil on here, I was like, I'm having a hard time seeing. The foil was giving like such a glare that I was starting to question my eyesight for a second.
I'm gonna go back to that eye doctor, dang it. But yeah, if you guys have suggestions for authors, you can put them in. I know you guys have suggested some before, like put them in the comments. We have a lot lined up. I have some that I know that I'm supposed to be asking, but they're ones that we're saving for when we don't have a big lineup going on. So, but some pretty good sized, pretty big authors. So, some of them,
And we like to make connections with authors first
before
we ask. So
exactly.
That's
so
we work on.
That is exactly what we work on. We want that relationship. So yeah. Okay, so for my next book, this was another reread, guys.
Oh, hold on. I wanted to add that this is a series, like a trilogy. We are only going to talk about the first book. So if you haven't read the other two, that's okay. I haven't. I'm purposely waiting to read the next two so I don't accidentally get confused and talk about the wrong book, because I feel like that can be easy to do in a trilogy and forget where exactly that happens. So,
and there is audio for it. That was another thing we made sure with Book Club. We wanted to make sure that there was always audio for those of you who cannot physically read or have a harder time physically reading. There's audio. So
or who just
I will
enjoy
re-listen
audio.
to it. I do. Yeah.
We get a lot of feedback that some people really just enjoy audio better.
Yeah, I do. So, So my next book, like I said, is a reread. I don't know about you guys, but like being in like the way just rereads were easier this week. And not that I have a crap ton, but I do have some new books too. But this is another reread. I did a reread of Honeysuckles by January Rain. Again, for reasons. So this is her first book in her Monster Stalker series. The third book just came out, and I haven't gotten to it yet. Like I think I've gotten like a chapter in. I'm like, oh crap! I wanted to go back and do a little bit of a reread. And so this is that first book. It's about Demi and Creed. This is where Creed was spliced with a bunch of different monster DNA, and he broke out of the facility, burned the facility to the ground. He did what he did, and then he ends up in this small town where he finds this girl who runs a 50s style diner, and that is Demi, and he knows for a fact that she is his beloved. She is his mate. He's got all sorts of different weird monsters in her, which means now he's going to stalk her because the guy's got gray skin and some odd things happening, and you're not going to see him walking down the street. So he stalks her, and might make sure she's sleeping before he watches her, and like sleeping really well with pills, before he watches her and creeps into her house, and it's like a whole thing. But this is fun. These are fun paranormal weird peen attachments kind of thing. Just, you gotta love them. You can't take them too seriously. They're great. So okay.
Next, I apparently have an obsession with narrator Emma Wilder because I listened to 3 books that she narrated,
Really?
all by coincidence, and they were all the advanced listener copies.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm like, wait, didn't I just I actually, when I was making my notes, thought I'd messed up because I was like, I just wrote her name. I must have looked at the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Nope.
Nope. Okay. It's her. All right.
She is narrator of the week for me, apparently.
That's awesome. Okay.
So my next book is All My Love by Morgan Elizabeth. This is actually already out. And so this is like one of those review only ones.
Mm-hmm.
So you can go grab this now if you want to listen to it or read it. Mm-hmm. So this is about, did I say it was by Morgan Elizabeth? I hope I did.
Yes. Yeah.
So we have Stella, and Stella's mom is just horrible and has just really kind of made Stella feel awful about herself the majority of her life. And when she was in high school, her and Riggins were childhood friends, and her mom purposely moved them away so they didn't live by each other anymore, but they still remained friends. Her mom is just awful. And her and Riggins write songs together. He becomes a famous rock star, and a lot of this is told in flashbacks. So this is a second chance romance. We have mental health rep in here. We have a secret Vegas marriage, which I love. And because it's told in the flashbacks, it's really kind of hard to give a lot of info on this. But basically, Riggins is back, and he wants to right a bunch of wrongs that happened between him and Stella. And like I said, Stella's mom is horrible. She gives the Nash brothers' dad, he looks like a saint compared to her. She's just evil. And I just want to say that sometimes I feel that when you have the book is about 2 main people, you need to have character growth between them to some degree. But your side characters don't always have to change, and everything doesn't always have to become roses for the end of the story. Mm-hmm. And I'm Stella's mom never changes. She digs in and is just a horrible human. And that is actually real life. There are some people out there that really should never have been a parent, who really are just not good people. And I appreciated that Morgan Elizabeth left that and didn't make them come to this understanding, and it didn't all get better with that relationship, because that's not real life. We don't always get every relationship better. So anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there.
Okay, cool.
Maybe someday we'll do a rec video about the horrible side characters.
Wow.
Because she would get the award. Hands down.
Okay. All right.
Next.
Okay. So I joined a Facebook group this week, and it was a betrayal and something. I can't remember what it's called, but it was about, we had just had our cheating book rec video that came out, and I love that when that's in a book, right? So I found this group. Well, they were talking about this next book. They talk about a lot of books that are on Wattpad and whatever, and I'm no, that's just not my thing. I want a book. But they were talking about this one. It's by Maya Banks, and I was like, let me try this out. So I listened to this one. It's told in third person for a contemporary, which was a little odd, but I listened to it, so it wasn't too bad. So this is the Tycoon's pregnant mistress, which gives you the idea that she's a mistress and he's married, but he's not. So let's just talk about that. Okay, so like I said, she's that's you, not me. Hold on.
Hi.
Hi. Okay, so she's his mistress, as in like she's the woman he's sleeping with. He's this tycoon. He's this billionaire. And he has like a hotel company that he and his brothers run. And I just that kind of drove me nuts. I'm like, she's not his mistress, if but whatever. Okay. Anyhow, she's having a really bad day. So this is Marley, really, really bad day. She found out she was pregnant. Her relationship with Chrysander has not been very defined, and so she's gonna like try and nail that down with him today. When that happens, his secretary shows up, or his assistant shows up, and interrupts the moment before she can tell him that she's pregnant, and like really get that definition of their relationship out there. And when the person leaves, the assistant leaves, then he comes in and starts accusing Marley of stealing information from his company and selling it to the contenders out there. And so he breaks up with her, kicks her out of the apartment. She then gets kidnapped and is held hostage for like 3 months. Then Chrysander sees her when she's rescued, and at this point, she's got amnesia. Like she is blocking it all out. He sees she's pregnant, and so being the stand-up guy that he is, because he knows it's his baby, because she's like 5 months along, she's been held for 3 months. Like that makes sense. He goes to the he goes to the hospital and tells a little white lie that they're engaged, and then he's going to take care of her, and it's a whole thing. Like this happens like in the first 2 chapters. So seriously, this is a lot. I gave it 4 stars. I did enjoy it. I wish it would have been in first person versus third person. Were some things a little out there? Yeah, but it was an enjoyment factor for me. So I do like Maya Banks, but I like the historical things I've read by Maya Banks. So maybe that's why. But okay. Hey, there's amnesia.
Your last book was about tentacles
Mhm.
and stuff, and this is the book that's a little out there.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Actually, I'm surprised you read it after you were ripping books apart last week for their titles.
I know. Oh, well. It's just the whole like pregnant mistress. When you hear mistress, you think mistress, not my girlfriend. Whatever. Okay. Side chippy. Okay. What you got next?
All right.
Okay.
My next one is The Strike Zone by Lulu Moore. This was another advanced listener copy of ALC. It is narrated by Emma Wilder and Robert Hatchett. So we have Parker. Parker is on the Lions baseball team. He has been in love with Scout, and Scout was currently dating someone else when he fell for her, and like it just hasn't quite worked out for him to make his move, but he now knows she's single and that is his priority, is to get her to go out with him. But it's the new season, and they just made this rule that if you are dating anybody, like you have to fill out this form with HR before you can even go on your first date, which makes things kind of awkward when you're trying to ask somebody out. And so he makes an attempt to do like ask her out, but she's really focused on work, and so he decides like, well, I'll just be friends with her, I'll really work that angle, and eventually like she'll want to go out with me when she sees what a great guy I am. Wow, how's my time already up? So they end up becoming more than friends, but she is hesitant to go to HR because she's trying to get this promotion, and it becomes a big thing. I absolutely love this. I rated it 5 stars.
Okay. The neighbors' dogs are barking. I don't know what's going on, but our windows are open. So sorry for those who can hear it. Okay, so my next book, again, it was a reread. Sorry, guys. But this is a series. If you have not read this series, Mandy, you really need to be reading it. And so this is the first book in Kirsten Ashley's Fantasyland series. I did a reread of Wildest Dreams.
Oh, I thought that when you said Kristen Ashley, I'm like the Golden Dynasty.
No, Wildest Dreams. I need to read. I realize I haven't read the last 2 in the series. And I need to, because I haven't, and duh. And so, because there's like a novella, but the novella is like almost 500 pages. I'm like, that's not a novella. But okay, anyhow, And I actually have it in the mail on the way to me right now. So I was like, I need to refresh my mind. Like I want to do a whole reread of the whole thing, just not in the same week because these are big buggers. So, Kristen doesn't write small books. Let's just put that out there. So anyhow, this is the first book that set up her Fantasyland series. It is just so good. I think even if you're not a fantasy reader, you like they're just that good. So this is about Seolithan or Finny, and the Drakkar, or his name is Frey, but he's referred to as the Drakkar through quite a bit at the beginning of the book. So Finny, we find out that there is a parallel world to ours. In this parallel world, everybody has a twin. And so Seolithan, or Finny as she's called, she lost her parents in a plane crash when she was a little girl. They left her a lot of money. And so she has found out about this. She's gone to New Orleans. She's found this woman who can send her over, can communicate with this other world. She has contacted the other Finny, and they've agreed to switch places for a year on a certain date. So she goes with her best friend. Her best friend's trying to talk her out of it, but she goes anyway. She gets switched with the other Finny. While she's the CO Finn, the ones from the other side, is minutes away from marrying the Drakkar, and he does not tell her this. She's a princess. She just goes because she wants to see her parents. Because if you have that parallel world and you have a twin, your parents have twins, and it's the exact same thing. So her parents who died are alive in this world, and the other Seofin has the parents. So she gets there, spends all of 3 minutes with her parents, and then is rushed off to get married to the Drakkar, who thinks that she is the original Finny, who doesn't like boys. And so he's not very nice to her in the beginning. He like literally abandons her at a cottage
I
in
thought that was
Leavenworth.
the Golden Dynasty plot.
Now the Golden Dynasty, again, it's this parallel world situation. In the Golden Dynasty, she like wakes up in a pen just before the bride hunt, and it is this horde
Oh, okay.
situation, and he makes her his queen, and she doesn't understand a thing that's happening. This
Okay.
one is more like, we've gone to Leavenworth, Washington. We're hanging out in a Bavarian village, and we're a princess, and we're married to this grumpy man, and there's some hot springs action going on. There's also dragons and some elves, but that's later on in the book. So
Well,
good.
until you said the dragons, I was going to say this sounds like your real life.
Yeah. Yeah, the dragons and the magical elves, I don't have those, unfortunately.
All right.
Okay. Next.
My next one is my last
Oops.
audiobook. Well, hello.
Sorry.
I'm
my
already
finger
by
my
myself.
finger got really happy there. It was really excited. Okay,
This
sorry.
is my last audiobook for the week.
Okay.
And it is also narrated by Emma Wilder, which she does a phenomenal job. It's funny that like all of her books were this week.
Yours.
So anyway, so
Okay.
this is See It Through by Julia Wolf. This came out last year, but the audiobook comes out on March 24th, which is the day this comes out. So we have this edit. Oh my gosh. Narrated by Sean Masters and Emma Wilder. So we have Hannah and Remington. Hannah is like devastated that her mentor and friend, who was older than her, has passed away, and he has left a lot of things to her. And so she's just kind of trying to, she's a farrier. She's trying to just kind of run her business and just kind of get by with this like broken piece of her soul. When Remington shows up back to town and is shocked to find out that his dad has left half of the house to Hannah. And so there's a little bit of stuff going on there. And Remington's been gone for many, many years. And he used to be Hannah's brother's best friend. So they've known each other for a very long time. And Hannah is like really resentful towards him that he's been gone and never came back to check on his dad. And so we see some of this, like the working through all of that through this. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. I rated it 4 stars. And
Okay.
there's also a romantic suspense element to it because somebody is not very happy with Hannah and we don't know why. But things like dangerous things keep happening.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
All right. You ready for my last read of the week?
I'm ready.
Okay. So that is Red Rabbit by Devin Rivers. I've had this on my bookshelf since like last January. I know some people have mentioned it. Woo, I don't know what happened there. Some people have mentioned it to me. I've had it on my radar for a while. But this one is dark. It is really, really, really dark. And so this is about Kaylin. She is getting on a plane to fly back home. She's been visiting a friend up in the Arctic Circle, and she is going to fly back home. She works for the government, for a military company. She is the chief technical officer at this uh, I don't know, stuff that is over my head, basically over my head. Biotech, I think is what it is. But anyhow, she gets on the plane. This plane is this little rinky-dink plane. She realizes she's gonna have to sit with the pilot because there is a man in handcuffs and a officer with him, whatever we call these guys. I really, really am losing my words today. But the four of them are flying south. The plane doesn't make it. They crash. She saves the guy with the handcuffs. The other two don't make it. And they're in the wilderness and they have to survive. Then other things happen. So she has it written as a why choose. I would not call this a why choose, because a why choose indicates that there are more than two heroes situations going on here. So I'm just going to put that out there because for those who don't care for why choose, there's more than one, but it's not a three or more situation. But there is rape on page in this book. There is sex trafficking. It is bad. It gets like for chapters, it is bad. So I'm just gonna put that out there for those. Like it's dark. It's very dark, but I gave it 5 stars. I loved it. So
Okay. Yeah. Would those two be good at putting bookshelves together, or do you feel like you have to have that reverse harem why choose situation for
no,
bookshelf
I feel
putting
like an
together?
MFM type situation would be probably almost as good as a why choose. I just feel like if it's why choose, then you have the one person that you can be occupied with helping you organize your books, while the other 2 or 3 are putting the bookshelves up and putting them together. Or one of them can be at the grocery store, one of them can be dealing with the kids, while like 2 of them are putting them up, and you're at the spa. So
We really made bad choices in our lives, Jessica.
oh, honestly, I couldn't handle more than the one I already have, but
Oh
thanks.
no, that would be so annoying.
I know. It's bad enough with one of them hounding me. No, I'm good. Every once in a while, it'd be nice to have that extra set of hands. I'm like, last night, I didn't want to have to pick up my daughter from the dance at 10 o'clock at night, and my husband didn't either. So it'd been nice to have like a third one. Can you go get the kid? But
Well, he probably wouldn't want to do it either.
no, he wouldn't. No. Mm-mm. No. Anyhow, okay, what's your last book?
Okay, my last book is Abyss by Swati
Yay!
MH.
Yes.
Yes, go me for saying her name.
Yes.
Okay, so we have Cabby. Cabby grew up really like poor. Her family has struggled. And there's something else, like Cabby has a lot of trauma from something, and we see like we get a little glimpse of it, but it unfolds very slowly throughout the whole book. And she is desperate for some money. Her father has just passed away, so she's trying to help her mom with money before she moves away for her new job. So she's got a few weeks, so she gets this job at a restaurant. And on her first day, she's trying to uncork the champagne and it does not go well. The cork flies and hits the guy right in the head. And he just happens to be part owner of the restaurant and fires her on the spot. So she's pretty devastated because she really needs money to help her mom out with all the medical bills from her father getting sick and passing away, and with her brother as well, who's still in school. And so her dear friend Madison gets her a new job working as a temp, as an admin for her dad. And her dad is the guy who owns the restaurant. And so he is none too pleased when she shows up to be the new admin, but he has no choice but to kind of let her stay. My timer went off. Oh, there you go.
I thought so.
And so he, like, we talk about like grumpy assholes, like he really takes the cake on this.
Mhm.
But he has some reasons that we slowly kind of uncover throughout the book. So I really, really enjoy this. Is obviously age gap and, you know, best friend's dad. So how could we not love that? So I rated it 4 stars. I really, really enjoyed it. And I want to go back and read the first 3. They feel, I think from reading this, you don't have to read the other ones, but the other 3, like you read about one of them already. So they're
And I
his,
already started this.
2 of them are brothers, I think,
Mhm.
and he's their friend. So I
Yeah,
enjoyed
they
it a
might-
lot.
The first 3 might be brothers because the first one I read, he has a set of twin brothers, and then the one that I'm reading right now, it's one of the twin brothers.
Yes.
So it could be that all 3 of the boys and then the friend. So okay.
Yeah, he's friends with all of them, but specifically one of the twins is like his really good friend.
Okay. All right. So is that it?
That's it.
Well, there you go, guys. There was our week.
I've read.
You've read. Woohoo! All right. Well, wrap her up.
Yes. Let's wrap up.
Let's wrap it
So
up.
tell us how your reading week was, what you're reading, what's new in your life, how's life, what's going on. Share anything you want in the comments below. We love interacting with you.
Yes.
And sometimes if we're a little bit slower on the comments, I see them come across my phone, but I am a type person. I like to type like this on my computer. And so sometimes I wait until I get to my computer and you're still recovering. So if we're a little slow, don't think we don't want to see comments. We love them. So
We love the comments. Yeah, definitely.
and like the video, we love that. I think I already said that at the beginning. So what am I supposed to be saying now?
Supposed to tell them to check back.
Nope, that's not my line. Please make sure to check back on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays for new videos from us, and this Wednesday for our interview with Nikki Sloan.
Yes, definitely. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next video.